Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the Eastern Alliance Era 2 Tech Tree medium tank, the TR-85. Now if you do like the video, as always don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the TR-85, it is the opposite route to get to the Moderna. It is the start of it. It's one of the tanks that was already in the game before they released this new tech tree, alongside the TR-125 and obviously the TR-580. But this is the other way that you can get to the Moderna at the top end, because you go through the TR-85, the TR-125, the TR-85M1, and then you get the Moderna. Now, is this the route that I would recommend you go through? Not really. No. I'd recommend to go through the other route, because this TR-85 is, well, it's a tank. Yep. Absolutely. It is a tank. It's got tracks, it's got a gun, it's got a turret. It's a tank. That's about as good as I can say about it, if I'm honest. I hated playing this tank. It was not a fun time. And the TR-125 after it was about a similar experience. The TR-85M1 at Era 3 is not that great, honestly. It's got a fantastic gun, fantastic DPM, but that's it. And, well, tanks aren't made with just DPM and good guns, right? But the TR-85, this first replay, we are very, very stock. We've got a 70.97 top speed with a 25.3 km/h reverse speed, 871.5 horsepower engine, which is 18.16 horsepower per ton ratio. So it does hit its 70 km/h top speed, although we have helped it out a little bit with the powertrain to get higher on the power to weight. But it's probably one of the only things that truly goes for it, is the fact that this tank is actually fairly mobile. You got 2.3k HP with the stock turret. You go up to 2.5k with the top turret. You got 483 meters of view range, which means you can spot for yourself decently enough, but true vision is a thing, so yeah. But a lot of Era 2 tanks are starting to go above 500 quite easily, so that is something. You've got a 36 degree a second hull rotation speed with a 38.92 degree a second turret rotation speed, which means your turret is faster than your tracks, which can be something that can be nice for the TR-85. You've got 0.75 accuracy during rotation with a 1.56 accuracy during movement with the build that I run, which means that the aim circle does bloom out, but not that much at all. And you have a 1.93 second aim time, meaning the gun does aim in pretty quickly, which can be okay for the TR-85. You have 5 degrees of gun depression, which is fairly limiting, just like most of the other Soviet-esque vehicles. 0.28 accuracy at 100 meters, which is pretty decent as well. And sadly, that first game, by the way, it went to pot very, very quickly, and we were like, yeah, we're doing okay. Oh, ATGM's dead. And we got 1 kill with 4.9k damage and 586 base XP on a loss, which was a very sad time for TR-85. But that was a very stock game. I think that was my first or second game in it as well, which is, yeah, definitely a thing for it. So with this stock gun as well, which you see in this second replay, by the way, we are now nearly upgraded. We've got everything but the top gun. So we've still got this stock gun, which has 376 penetration on the standard APFS DS rounds, with 419 penetration on the premium APFS DS rounds, which are 1430 meters a second shell velocity on the standard, and 1475 meters a second shell velocity on the premium, which means the premium does travel faster, but it's negligible, honestly. The shell velocity on this tank is pretty decent in that regard, but your 376 penetration on the standard APFS DS is low, and it can be a bit of a struggle at times, but having the 419 pen premium, that is pretty good for the old TR-85 in general. And having that 5.98 second reload, which is 4.4k DPM, you do have a pretty decent reload, but it's just the platform is really not that good, because your armor is pretty poor. It gets penned by absolutely everything really easily. Your fuel tanks are weak on this vehicle. It tends to get set on fire quite a lot. Its ammo rack goes quite a bit as well, which is also deeply frustrating. And against a lot of ATGMs slash the sort of more machine gunny tanks like the Weasel, it just can't stand up for itself. It really does struggle. It's a tank that feels like it should have armor, and then it just, well, it just doesn't. Add to that, the gun sometimes feels, even though it's got good accuracy at 0.28 and stuff like that, it sometimes just feels like, you know what, I'm just going to miss. And that's what this gun is like, which is just RNG, but yeah, it can be pretty frustrating. If you get it into a good position where you can farm, you can have a good time with it, like any other tank in Era 2 that has decent DPM and decent gun handling, which is what this tank does have. You can farm away, but generally, as soon as you become the focus of people's attention, you just die. Like, there is no armor that helps you survive any sort of attention. You've got the ricochet angles on the tank, which can help occasionally. Shots will hit you and bounce, and ricochet, and you go, ooh, that bounced? But generally, it goes downhill pretty quickly, which, yeah, can be frustrating, especially when you've got to try and apply pressure or put pressure on the enemy team. This tank is not very good at doing that whatsoever. So now we are nearly upgraded. We actually have the top turret now, which means we've got that 2,550 hit points. We've got a better hull rotation speed at 38 degrees a second, better turret rotation speed at 41.35 degrees a second. Ramming speed? Oh, yes! We'll take that every day. We've now got a 72.55 kilometer an hour top speed with a 26.46 kilometer an hour reverse speed, 903 horsepower engine, which is 18.81 horsepower per ton ratio. And we do run the powertrain to help that horsepower out, so we just get to the top speed a little bit more, because without it, it felt a bit sluggish sometimes. And with the powertrain, we do gain an extra horsepower per ton ratio, like an extra 1 near enough, which is very, very nice. So what do I run in terms of recruit and equipment? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Rapid Aim, Track Mechanic, Deadeye, Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and the Powertrain. Powertrain, again, like I say, to make that power to weight better, to help it get to its top speed of 72, which is a nice mobility. But, like I say, sometimes I was getting frustrated with the sluggishness of the feeling of the tank, so I just helped it out, and getting that whole extra 1 in the horsepower per ton ratio, or near enough, whole extra 1, was very, very nice. The gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during rotation and movement down as low as humanly possible, so we've now got it down to that 1.3 and 0.79 when stock, which means that the aim circle doesn't bloom out much at all, meaning you are ready to go as quickly as possible. And that's the reason we run all 3 gun perks as well. Deadeye for the memes to make the, well, increase our chance of doing module damage by 6%, and Rapid Aim to get that better turret traverse, so it's better than the tracks generally. So that second replay, another fairly average game there with the 4 kills, 4.5k damage. First class apparently for the TR-85 with 1383 base XP. A pretty decent game for the TR-85 on Kaunus there. And now we're on to the TR-85 while we are fully upgraded. And now we're fully upgraded, you might think, oh, Top Gun. Yeah, it doesn't really get much better for the Top Gun, to be perfectly honest. The changes that happen, it's very typically Cold War. In the fact that we've got the Top Gun, and we go, Top Gun, right? If you think, oh, we've unlocked the Top Gun in World War II, for example, you expect full stat changes going off left, right, and centre, right? You expect way better accuracy, or way better DPM, or better alpha, definitely better penetration. This one, yeah, it gets a little bit better again. So you get 0.6 accuracy during rotation now, with 1.23 accuracy during movement. So again, minimal differences to the accuracy during rotation and movement, but it's a nice feeling gun. So when you are going at full top speed, at that 72 kilometers an hour, it barely moves. The aim circle barely moves, and if it does, you got 1.93 second aim time to be able to aim the gun in really quickly. And you've got 0.27 accuracy at 100 meters as well, which again is very, very nice. In terms of the penetration, it stayed the same. 376 millimeters of penetration on the standard APFS DS, and 419 millimeters of penetration on the premium APFS DS, which, yeah, means that generally, right, it's just not the best penetration in the universe. Naturally, this is the same gun that the T-55 AM gets. It's the same gun that the TR-580 gets. So, you can use it. Penetration is usable. It just means that you struggle with certain targets. And like I say, 490mm of penetration, realistically, is enough to go through most vehicles anyway. But, yeah, it's just sometimes the gun feels wonky that you sit there going, you should have hit that gun. Like, how did you miss that, right? And then, yeah, the biggest problem that I have with this vehicle is the fact that it's just got that lack of armor with awkward 5 degrees of gun depression that you sit there going, oh, come on, tank, right? I hated grinding through this thing. I don't know, I played it quite a bit, and I was just wishing I was in the T-72M, or I was wishing I was in the T-55AM, right? Or, to be honest, I was wishing I was in the T-80. Oh, yeah, the T-80, right? I mean, that's the tank that is equivalent. To think that is mental, to be fair, in the Eastern Alliance tech tree. That if I'm in a TR-85, I'm thought of as my equivalent tank as a T-72A or just a T-80. And I really enjoyed the T-80, right? The gun was derpy, but... and it gets set on fire all the time, which is also a pain. But then this tank suffers that too. So it's, you know, I had a derpy gun, but I had higher alpha, I had nice penetration, I had pretty good DPM, which meant that, yeah, I just feel like I'm so much of a better tank than this vehicle, even though we're technically the same era and tier. But there we go. So this second replay is on this map, which is on Heilbronn. And on Heilbronn, we have pushed to the position at G78. Managed to get shots of the campers that do tend to go sit at B9, C9, 0, that area there. We're up to 1727 damage, sorry. And we are just looking to try and push up to get shots at either the ELC, even SS-12, or the light tank and medium tank. Great driving, me. As we, you know, drive up some rocks. That's well played. It's currently 10-9, which means the scores are, well, 10-8. The scores were fairly decently even. The Weasel MK1 is sat in the open. We're trying to go for the tracking shot. Thanks, gun. We tried to go for the... but we hit that one! Just RNG! Why? You know? Like, we hit that one through the smoke onto the Weasel MK1. We got the gun pretty much fully aimed on the front end of the Weasel. If I'd hit the Weasel and ricocheted off his upper plate, right, I'd have been annoyed. But it would have been like, okay, stream angle, sure, weirdness happens, we bounce. But the fact is, we had it pretty much all on the Weasel, only a little bit on the floor. And it went, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna miss! As we damaged the viewports of the Weasel as well, hitting it full in the back. But there we go. Yeah, like I say, the gun for me is either really nice or really poor, and it's just like the TR, or not the TR, the 72M1, or sorry, the T72M. I always go, oh, T72M1. No, that's the premium. The T72M was the same, where the gun just decides, you know what, I'm accurate, but I'm going to hit the floor. And you sit there going, but why? You know? Frustrating. RNG at times is just is a thing of pure mistress of beauty, right? Yeah, I think so. I think that's how it goes. So we're up to 2.5k damage with 635 assistance, pushing the tempo into the ELC. Oh, ramming speed. Oh, yes. Oh, just die, Mr. Pedro. Good night, Pedro. We're up to 3.6k damage, 635 assistance. And there's one tank left, and it's a Pedro. Hello, Mr. Pedro. I see thee. As we get a shot into the back end of the Pedro for 450, it's a bit of a high roll. I mean, we could have loaded HE there for that guy, but it would have been a bit more of a struggle to actually hit it, because we have 135 penetration on the standard HE rounds, with 580 damage, which is a massive rise in the damage, and 135 millimeters of penetration can go through a lot of vehicles, which can be pretty handy. But at the same time, you do suffer a rather large drop in the shell velocity, and that is, you got 900 meters a second shell velocity on the HE, meaning that it would have been extremely hard to actually hit the Pedro with that shot that we hit him with the APF SDS, because the velocity really does make the gun feel a lot different in how you're firing it. So we were chasing after the Pedro, no idea where the Pedro had gone, so safe to say we capped out, and we won the game, because at the end of the day, we will end up, that Pedro could have gone anywhere. When you're against something like a Weasel MK or a Pedro that has proxy spot, there's no point ever trying to chase them if you've lost visual. You may as well just cap out and then draw them to you if that happens. We finished the game with the 1121 base XP, 4066 damage, another fairly average game there for the TR-85, and that generally was my average experience of the tank. The first replay, the stock one, and this one, generally how I've fully experienced the TR-85. It's not been a fun experience in the fact that I feel like I struggle my way up to about 4,000 damage, and if something looks at me, I lose loads of my hit points, and then the game ends and I go, oh, is that all I've done? I feel like I've been in the wars, right? And I've not done anything compared to what I've done in many other Era 2s. But yeah, that's the TR-85 generally. But this is actually the best game that I've had in the vehicle. And this one we're on Westfield. And this is the last game of the video. And on Westfield, we're going to go up north. Because when you are this spawn on Westfield in Cold War, generally, the north is the best play to make for our spawn. Because we can push up the 2 line and then get to a position at about A3, A2. And we can shoot across at people that do camp all the time at E0. Because people love camping at E0 and sitting there and shooting across this big open field. which means that if you manage to win the flank and get to A2, A3, you can get some very easy shots into people and get some easy farms in, which can always be very nice and always, you know, unleash pretty damn nice games. Oh, can we get that shot? Oh, yes, me! Pat on the back, my son. Pat on the back. That is a beautiful shot there on that AMX at, what was about, what, 600, 700 meters on the move? We'll take that. Bit of hefty RNG. That's what I mean with RNG. It giveth and it taketh. Like, we hit that one, but we missed that shot on the Weasel in the last game. You know what I mean? Right. Ah, oh, RNG, I swear. We're up to 439 damage for that shot on the AMX-30. Their team haven't really pushed this way because that's what happens. Their team generally pushes down the 9-0 into K0 position, and if they don't push out of that position at F0, we can farm them like this. This is what enemy teams always do on this map. Now, you can effectively win the game from their spawn if they push the K0 position and then down the K line and then take that mid-ridge where currently there's 4 tanks spotted. They can win it quite easily. But if they have a lot of teammates that are doing exactly what happens here, which happens very regularly, it's an easy farm. We've taken this good position here. We're up to 2.1k damage already. And we're just farming up. Sadly, that shot doesn't quite go where we want it to on the Ignis. I see the ATGM from the Ignis and I'm like, oh, is that coming for me? And no, he actually went for someone that I think they got spotted there. And we're just trying to, again, keep the shots raining down because we're 4.5k DPM. We do have pretty decent DPM on this vehicle for a mid-era tank, which means that we can punish vehicles very, very fast if they just let us do it. It just doesn't happen very often that tanks go, yeah, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. You know, they don't do it that often. But when they do, who am I to say, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Thank you for the free damage. But we get spotted. We got spotted in that position, which made me go, absolutely not. You saw the amount of shots that flew at us there. We don't want to sit there for too long if we get spotted. Or if enough of their tanks have clearly sussed where we are and are shooting at us, and we've pushed aggressively to this position at B7. Now, that's something you do need to do if you get spotted, or if people just start shooting you when you're in that position at A3. Your best bet is to push to this position here, because you can get hull down on it, you can start shooting the people that are still camping at that F0 position, and you can also shoot the people that do start popping up like this FV4211. You can get unspotted quite easily too, like we are here, but naturally true vision is also a thing, so they can still see me anyway. But yeah, you can capitalise on chaos at the time. And look what's happening. Their team are pushing to try and stop the cap. There's only 13 seconds left, and we are just farming as hard as we can while we can do it. We've got the premium loaded so we can go through this 4211 at the distance. We're up to 5.1k damage, 678 assistance. Go for the shot into the Centurion, and that one ricochets. Oh, okay. Thanks, game. But they are still coming thick and fast because naturally we are 5 seconds out from capping. So they really are desperate to get back and cap it out. The M60A1 gets tracked, and whoever, their light tank, their Weasel, manages to get in unspotted and finish off one of the tanks in the cap and reset the other one, meaning we're not going to win by cap. We're up to 6.4k damage. Chieftain in the kind of in the open. I was about to say in the open. No, well, now he's in the open as we start shooting him in the side. Now, if we could damage that guy's Armour and pop his lid, that'd be great, because Chieftains are very, very good at popping their lids. But we actually end up finishing them off with a nice little high roll. The 4211 AMX-30, I think it is, in a light tank are below us, so we need to get in there and start putting hurting. In fact, it's a Centurion 9. We see the Weasel MK, and it's like, nope, you can't get a shot at that guy. But we put a shot into the back of the 4211. And at this point, I'm seeing this going, oh no, I think I'm going to die. So we're just trying to put shots in where we can. We track and pen the 4211, which is exactly what I wanted to do to stop him from progressing quite as quickly. Shot through the cupola there. AMX-30B2 and the Centurion are coming for us. So we put a shot into the Centurion 9, which tracks and pens him, stops him in play. Now we're nearly loaded. Try and finish off the 30B2, and we ricocheted off the 30B2, and he finished us off. Sad times, but we finished the game with the victory. 1 kill, 9.5k damage, 1,295 assistance damage. The first class, high caliber, the Confederate medal for 1527 base XP. Really great game there for the TR-85. Yeah, a tank that's just a bit of is very much a struggle. It's really not a very nice tank to play. I really didn't enjoy it. But there we go. That's the TR-85. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.